So yesterday I saw this crazy clip. It was Roger Federer versus Goran Ivanisevic from I guess 2000 or 2001, and I would have to guess it's indoor hard best of 3 sets. And so it's a teenage Roger Federer versus experienced Goran, and Federer is actually leading 7-5, 5-3. Goran is serving, and they played this ridiculous point in which Goran was ahead all the time. He was smashing, he was playing volleys, he was half volleying, so he was dominating in this point, but Federer somehow, some way, put every single one of Goran's shot back in play, and what ended happening is Goran actually played a weaker half volley, and Federer hit this beautiful forehand passing shot, won the point, and Goran was obviously frustrated, mad. I mean, in his head, he's losing to this random, semi-random Federer guy from Switzerland. Who's this Federer guy? And he grabs this racket and he smashes it. And on the other side of the net, Federer is kind of like watching that. And he's just like, you know, laughing and just like smiling and all that, which is a perfectly fine, normal reaction. Like, this experienced guy is getting his ass handed to this like teenager, whatever. And, you know, both of them had a normal reaction. It's a normal reaction. It's a competitive sport. This guy's frustrated, the other guy's playing well, and he's laughing. Nothing about that is disrespectful to the game. Nothing about that is disrespectful to the opponent. It's perfectly fine. It's a competitive match. So fast forward 20 plus years, everybody wants... tennis is this like super important sport. It's one of the biggest sports in the world, but somehow the fans want people to not have any reactions, to not break rackets, to not yell, to not scream, to not shout, to not go in the toilet, to not have celebrations, to not have semi-salty interviews, cold handshakes. Everybody like it's just... Dude, it's a competitive sport. You're going to be frustrated and mad when you miss a shot by 2 millimeters. When you got unlucky. When you're getting your ass handed to this guy. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be mad. In my opinion, if you're not frustrated, if you're playing a Grand Slam semifinal as a random card game with your friends, nothing matters. You're just kind of chilling, talking about life, talking about women, talking about this, and that. That's disrespectful to tennis. That's more disrespectful to tennis than actually smashing a racket or doing something violent. Because that means that you basically do not care. If you're getting your ass handed in the Grand Slam semifinal 6-2, 6-1, 6-la, and you're like, yeah, it's fine, you know. I think that's more disrespectful to the game than actually showing emotion. So I do not understand that stupid ass take. Like, as I said, it's so funny because I would guess that most of the people who got mad at like players showing emotions and God forbid doing celebrations and God forbid breaking rackets are the same people who go to a random card game with their friends and they're the one annoying guy who's like overly competitive and wants to win that $5 that they're playing for and wants to win that $10, and there's not even like a single female in the room. You cannot even impress anybody. You cannot even show and boast and whatever, you flex your skills to anybody. It's just like a sausage fest. There's 6 dudes there drinking beers and shit, and you're like, you're super competitive. I have to win the $7.5 because, you know, it's important that I'm a competitive fucking, you know, guy, blah blah blah. And then you get mad at tennis players showing emotions. It's absolutely ridiculous to me, and I don't know how this started. I don't know, was it because of Federer's domination when he was just like beating everybody and, you know, he was doing his celebration, you know, that's the Federer celebration when he was just like throwing a racket and just like fell on the ground but screaming and whatever. But, you know, during the matches he wasn't doing much. Is it because Nadal apparently never broke a racket and, you know, blah blah blah? But it's just... It's so funny because Nadal has this like whole thing with the bottles, like he has to put every bottle in there because of, you know, I mean, karma, bad luck, whatever the fuck. He always has to pull the pants out of his ass before every serve, but then he is not, you know, showing emotions. He's just like perfect tennis player without any emotions, and he's just like winning all the time, and he's so smooth and blah blah blah. So it's super weird to me. And I just, this is kind of, well, it's not off topic, but the Ben Shelton thing, like this guy, to me, like, is just the perfect embodiment of a American young guy who's, just on the come up. He beat everybody in college. He thinks he's the best. He thinks he's the strongest. And he brings this kind of like NBA trash talk style to tennis. And to me, that's okay. But if you bring that, you have to take it. So if you're doing celebrations, if you're yelling after opponents' mistakes and double faults and all that, if you're talking trash, if you're talking shit, you have to take it. Like, the Shelton Djokovic match was basically some random rookie going up to LeBron James and hitting a three-pointer in his face, and doing the flexing and all that shit. And then, a couple of minutes later, LeBron hits a dagger up in his face and wins the match. And then LeBron does the celebration. You have to take it. I mean, if you bring that, you have to take it. But the outrage of people, talking about Shelton, talking about Novak, talking about, I think Musetti did the phone celebration, Fognini also did the phone celebration, and people are like, oh, this is the worst thing that ever happened to tennis. Really? That is the worst thing that happened to tennis. People doing a phone celebration, which is, to me, it's kind of funny. I don't know. I like it. I like it. And it's just people getting outraged because of that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I guess people expect this to be golf, when people are just, not showing any emotions, maybe celebrating if they had a great shot. But it's a completely different sport. You're playing head to head. Golf is like, you're putting and you're trying to do the best. You're trying to get the best score as you can. And yes, you're competing against other people, but basically you're competing against yourself. Tennis is high intensity, running around, mistakes happen, break points, set points, emotions, crowd yelling, referee, all that. And you have to show emotions. It's natural to show emotions. Like, I do not understand. And everybody expects this, like, perfect interview. Everybody expects these tennis players. I guess it's same with celebrities. Like, people run, when a celebrity does something bad, and granted there were, bad examples for this, but when a celebrity does something like marginally bad, a group of people always runs there and tries to cancel them as fast as they could. Because, I guess nowadays, because of social media, we have this like expectations when these celebrities and athletes have to be this like perfect human being, have to be like peak Roger Federer when he was beating everybody, just like elegant and kind of celebrating in the end, but not showing any emotions in the match, just being nice and all that. And just, it doesn't work like that. This is not a random card game like I mentioned previously. This is a important. I mean, I would guess tennis is an easily top 10 sport in this world. I mean, Novak is in the argument of greatest tennis player, not greatest tennis player, greatest athlete of all time. So it's like, to expect these guys to like not care, to not show any emotions is absolutely ridiculous to me.